Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled People. In today's episode, apparently Karen knows more about my job than I do. Resident gets evicted for not getting the kitchen he wanted. My brother's wife hates us. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Apparently Karen knows more about my job than I do. This lady came and got milkshakes where I work today. It's a local place and we have all different kinds of shakes with different toppings and different ingredients, so it varies what comes on them or in them, and complained her milkshake didn't have whipped cream on the top. She got a huckleberry milkshake, and none of our fruit milkshakes come with whipped cream unless you pay extra for it. She argued with me about this, saying she always got whipped cream on it and that she comes here every week and there's always whipped cream. Both lies, since we never put whipped cream on that particular shake, and I've only ever seen her come here that one time, and I'm on the register every day that I work, sometimes all day, and remember every one of our regular customers, and she was not one of them. She was getting hostile with me, and so I told my manager, and then he spent 10 minutes explaining to her that the milkshakes come with different toppings as do our other drinks we make, and she argued with him too. Sorry lady, I only work here and have been for 3.5 years. I think I know what goes on and in our drinks and milkshakes, but thanks for telling me how to do my job. Side note, my manager offered to put whipped cream on her milkshake this time, but she said no and continued arguing because she got told she was wrong and that she would be charged for it after that. Whipped cream is like 15 cents where I work. Edit: I work at a local restaurant. We are a small business and only have one single location. We pay top dollar for our products and also accommodate for many other costs such as employee wages and building maintenance and many other factors. We charge for our product because we have to make a profit somehow. We only have so much money to work with. And yes, I did mention in a comment that I gave away coupons for something free, but that's not something we do all the time. Those of you who have anything negative to say about this, please just leave and don't even say anything, because you obviously don't understand what it takes to run a small business in this day and age, and also the point of this post is not to sit here and degrade me over my job's way of doing things. Karen was just trying to bully herself some free topping, just another day in food service hell. Or had gotten confused with another milkshake place and was unwilling to back down. She got offered her free topping, refused, and still stayed and argued. She was just looking for a fight. She will not be my huckleberry. I'm a baker and I know exactly what you mean. Someone would ask for something and I say, sorry, we don't sell that here, and they would proceed to start squawking about how they bought it here last week. You did? That's odd, because I've been working here 7 years and we've never made that. I was in Trader Joe's the other day and heard two of the associates chatting. They were saying multiple people a day come up to them asking why they don't sell X, and they got it there last week for the associate to say we never sold X, ever. It bewilders them. LOL. I worked in retail for a long time and PPL would constantly pull this. I got it here 2 weeks ago. No, you didn't. I've worked here for literally over 5 years and we've never carried that. She was probably hoping to get a refund and still have the milkshake. There are many people who try to get freebies, unfortunately. I gave her and her husband some free coupons for ice cream for next time because they also got food along with the milkshakes, and they waited quite a bit for their food because we were busy, and she was just like, okay fine whatever, didn't even say thank you to me when I gave them to her and apologized for the wait on the food, and my manager was like, well, you can always give the coupons back to her if you're gonna have an attitude about it. I can't imagine spending that much time arguing about whipped cream. Reminds me of the time, decades ago, my group was at a McDonald's. Woman in front keeps trying to order a Whopper and repeating, what about having it my way? She is calling the staff names, acting condescending and belligerent. Staff is several teenagers who couldn't care less. One of my more confrontational associates asks the woman, lady, are you dumb or stupid, trying to order Burger King and McDonald's? One of us decided to further antagonize her. You can even see the Burger King from here. For lots down, across the street. Our group then laughs at her and she loses it. She does, however, walk out in a huff. Our group orders and didn't think anything of it. The teenaged staff pushes 4 trays of food to us when we only ordered 2. We tried being polite, we didn't order all this. Well, that's what happens when you stick up for people. I still remember that food coma. LOL. After a couple minutes arguing with someone, it's time to fire this customer. Leave and don't return. You are unwelcome here. Resident gets evicted for not getting the kitchen he wanted. A little description on what I do for a living. I basically renovate and or paint rentals so people can move in and *CK them up again. And sometimes I have to do this while they are occupied. So I'm going to have several stories to post here. Management companies for most rental properties will use cheap stock cabinets from their suppliers, but this particular management company uses a cabinet company. Nothing high-end, but still better than most. The resident of this story has a history of causing problems not only for his neighbors but with management too. At this time, the resident's kitchen had flooded because of an old water tank. The maintenance supervisor and a rep of the cabinet company go in to measure up for a new kitchen and arrange the install date. I just happened to be there that day working on a vacant when the maintenance supervisor calls me asking would I mind going over to measure for a countertop that they forgot to get, and was told the resident would be home. No problem, I go over, knocked, and introduced myself to the resident as the installer and why I was there. While I was there getting measurements, the resident pulls out a catalog and starts telling me that he wants these cabinets with this countertop with these features. Pointing and showing me things that were nowhere cheap. And I'm just thinking to myself that there's no way in hell management is going to approve any of this. When the resident finally stopped talking long enough for me to say anything, I inform him that I'm just the installer and what management orders is what I have to install. With an annoyed look on his face and some tone to his voice, he shoves the catalog in my hands and tells me to make sure he gets what he picked. Taking the measurements and catalog down to the office and to talk to the maintenance supervisor. When he see the catalog, tell me that the resident was told no, he was getting the same cabinets every unit gets, which was cherry finished cabinets with a bluish gray tops. I was informed that the install date and the resident would be away on vacation, which is good for me, no one to get in the way. The day of the install comes and goes without a problem, and I thought was the end of it. I was wrong. That Friday I was working another vacant rehab a few doors down when I start hearing loud screaming, cursing, banging noises from outside. Pop my head out the door to see the resident throwing busted up pieces of the kitchen I just installed. When he see me standing there, he starts coming towards me screaming I installed the wrong shit, that was not what he wanted, and cursing me out. By now both management and maintenance supervisors are here and the resident starts screaming and cursing them out. This goes on for a while and the cops had to be called when the resident started to take swings at us and ends up on his ass after the maintenance supervisor plants this as Sparta kick in his chest. Management files an emergency eviction order and the resident was gone by the end of the month. And I had to reinstall the kitchen all over again. The problem that I run into with renters is that they don't seem to understand that my customer is management company or the owner of the rental, that the renter has little to no say about what I have to do. Basic case of EFF around and find the EFF out. Whoa. Dude didn't understand he wasn't the owner, so he didn't get a say. I'd understand a little bit more if he was just asking for a different color that wasn't more expensive. As an owner, I'd be willing to comply. But that is just crazy. Never heard such a story before. I guess you do have some true tall tales to tell, of things you've seen and heard in this line of work. I have known others who did this too, but there weren't things like this happening back then. I suppose the renter didn't get the exact cabinets he wanted at his new place either. Plus now he'll be on a blacklist of sorts and have trouble being accepted in many APTs. What I wonder is how he tore them up. With his bare hands, or with a tool? If with his hands, they aren't made very well. Ripping the doors of kitchen cabinets is not very difficult. If they want something different, they have to agree to pay for it and get the owner/management company to agree. I don't understand how people don't understand that. My brother's wife hates us. Hi people. I'm feeling pretty down right now. My younger brother Cray, 54, and I, 56, have always had a good relationship, but things have changed since he married Lizzie, 55. She just seems to hate our guts for no reason. Well, very little reason. She said I hurt her parents' feelings when I saw them at their home after my mom's funeral, as after they said how sorry they were, I asked them how come they weren't there. They said they watched my nephew, my mother's grandson, as Lizzie didn't want him to go to the funeral. That was 20 years ago. My kids were not invited to any cousin parties and they barely know them. Lizzie never invited us ever. The latest incident was when they were near us, 1 mile away, at an event this past weekend that we go to all the time since it's by our home, but they didn't even extend an invite. Lizzie has even gone so far as to tell Cray that she will buy presents for all the kids and friends, but he has to take care of gifts for our mom, me, and my kids. It's really sad because Cray has become quite well off and has always been generous, taking on an older brother role since our mother passed away in our late 30s. But now it feels like we're being pushed out of his life because of his wife's dislike for us. Has anyone else been in a similar situation with in-laws or family members who just don't like you? How did you deal with it? What happened after they told you why they weren't at the funeral? The reason why was a valid one. I get it, my mother passed recently and I understand emotions were probably high. But they offered their condolences, which was very nice. Your response may have come across as rude because you were upset. It feels like something is missing. Wait. Her mom's funeral was 20 years ago, but the brother was responsible for buying gifts for their mom. Must have missed something. I don't quite see any entitlement in this. It just seems like problems with communication. I don't think Lizzie is the one with the problem here. She hasn't spoken to invited her nieces since 2005. My brother's wife's attitude changed towards his family, especially me, as the years went by. I was a child when they got married and we were very close. Things started to change in my 30s, but I chose to put up with it to keep my brother in my life. In the end, men will side with their wife if they have to choose, so I was treated like sh*t when he was dying, but I got to say my goodbyes to my brother. I left his house and I haven't talked to his wife and kids since, and it's been about 7 years. I have no regrets, but I still don't understand what happened to sour the relationship. Thank you. The key is really what you said. The man goes with the wife's plans. So her parents gave their condolences, and instead of being gracious you asked why they weren't at the funeral. I can see how that would upset them and therefore upset their daughter. From other posts it sounds like you never apologized for that comment, nor do you think that an apology is necessary. You're free to think that way, and Lizzie is free to continue to feel offended and not want to spend time with you and your family. She can't make you feel remorseful, and you can't make her include you/yours in her family. The parents didn't apologize for not going. But yes, I never apologized to people that knew my mother and didn't come to her funeral but was at my brother's home when I was there after. Why didn't they come? Why did they have to babysit? Why couldn't grandson come? The mystery is still alive. Oh my gosh. Reading the comments here, it is clear the OP is not able to see that she caused this rift and is blaming her Sael for everything under the sun that has gone wrong. I hope Sael continues the low/no contact she is going with her husband's sister. Yep. For me it's the sentence, it's sad because. Not because miss him, my kids misses him, I am missing out on seeing their kids grow up, but because he has become well off and used to be quite generous. The breakdown of this relationship clearly hasn't bothered Opie at all until now, when she feels she's missing out on cash handouts. There's definitely entitlement, but not from Sil. So you were churlish at the wake and can't quite riddle it out. There are entitled people in this story, but it's not who you think they are. I didn't get the impression this happened at the wake. They were watching their grandson, at his mother's request, so she could attend the funeral. You were extremely rude in demanding to know why they didn't go. Plus, why do you mention our mom in the gift-giving bit? Considering she died and all. Just after you mentioned how well-off your brother has become. I'm sensing the distinct aroma of a Billy bullshitter here. Anybody that isn't willing to give you a churlishness pass just once on the day of your mother's funeral is a huge asshole. Cut people some slack for a day or two after their parents die, FFS. What exactly is she claiming she is entitled to? It actually sounds like you're claiming to be entitled to being part of her life op. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.